I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the neighbors. That first order will offer today's reflection.
Would you bow your heads with me? Our Father, we give you thanks for this day and all of its beauty. Thank you for the food that we've just enjoyed, for the time of fellowship that we've experienced. Lord, we thank you for this club and for the work that you have enabled us to do to promote the well-being of the world in which we live. I ask that you would bless our efforts to complete our mission. Would you help us to provide service to others, enable us to promote integrity, to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through our fellowship as business, professional, and community leaders. Would we each seek to live our lives according to the four-way test? Would we be truthful, fair, show goodwill towards others, and work for the good of all? Would we learn much today and walk away blessed, encouraged, and uplifted by this time together? We ask all of this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Seth. While we're getting the member highlights slides up, Don Noble has a special announcement today.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, a good news announcement. If you haven't heard, effective August 1st, 2025, assuming the role of superintendent of the Wayne County Schools career, the board of the Career Center, are very excited and look forward to Lynn in assuming this new role. And she's also very modest, as you probably know. So she wouldn't tell you this, but next Thursday, April 24th, Lynn will be receiving the Chris Schmidt Community Impact Award from the Wayne County Economic Development Council at their annual meeting. The meeting will be at Greystone Event Center, and tickets can be purchased through the Wayne County Economic Development Council. Congratulations, Lynn.
Congratulations and well deserved. Okay, so back into the normal rotation. Welcome Rotarians, welcome guests. Today's member highlight. This Rotarian is the director of Habitat for Humanity. That narrows it down. She is a 14-year member of the Wooster Rotary Club. She has been a past board member and serves as the invocation chair for our club. This Rotarian lives in Worcester and is a widowed mother of 5 children and 14 grandchildren. That alone will keep you busy. For 4 years, this worldly Rotarian lived in Botswana, Africa, when she was a child. She also hails as a graduate of Highland High School from the other side of the world in Holmes County, Ohio. Beth Weaver. Okay, upcoming events. Let's see, the flag maintenance team had a very successful session on last Saturday. Actually, we are through most of the flags, believe it or not. As you know, we go through each flag each year, make sure everything is in good repair. Yeah, we're finishing up. There'll probably be 1 or 2 more sessions, which have not been scheduled yet, but look out in your email for that. Also, Susan Clayton informed me that they are in need of, I apologize, I forget what the couple more routes of, okay, of finding the flagpoles and anyway, outside work. Great way to enjoy spring weather. If you want to take a route and help look for and maintain the pipes that are there already, come and see Susan Clayton or myself. Okay, also, let's see. Quarterly invoices have gone out in your email. Look for those in your email address. And at this time, I will turn it over to Bob Gorman for another special presentation.
Thank you, President Tom. And congratulations to Lynn. We have a number of modest people in this club, and I'm here to talk about another of them today, Ron Holtman. I asked Ron if he'd like to come up while I'm talking about him, and he said, no, just tell me when you're going to start, and I'll run out the door. But this is a significant week in the history of Wooster Rotary because it's the 50th anniversary of when Ron Holtman took the pledge to become a member of the club. And rumor has it that this is a photo of Ron getting into his baby blue VW on the way to that first meeting. Now, we can't verify that is true, but as a good friend of mine likes to say, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. Ron was born in McCune, Kansas, but grew up mostly in Rochester, New York after his dad went to work for Kodak. He moved to Ohio, or came to Ohio for college, received a bachelor's degree from Denison University and a law degree from Case Western Reserve. And after passing the Ohio bar in 1967, Ron served as a JAG officer in the United States Air Force for 4 years, 2 years of duty in Montana and 2 in the Philippines. And after returning from military service, Ron and Prue moved to Worcester, where Ron began a 50-year career practicing law. Ron served not only as a trusted advisor for generations of individuals and many businesses in the area, but his history, his integrity, his judgment, his people skills have served the greater civic community for generations. More than once over the decades, I've been aware of a behind-the-scenes, knotty type of civics problem or nonprofit issue that seems to defy a good resolution until people turn to Ron to help find a solution. People like Ron, they trust him, they don't question his character, and his dry sense of humor helps diffuse sometimes awkward situations. So Ron and Prue's a longtime supporter and friend of Rotary. They have 2 children, Amy and Matt, 6 grandchildren, and a great-grandchild on the way. Amy and Matt, by the way, were both Rotary exchange students in South Africa, and Ron and Prue have hosted a number of Rotary exchange students in their homes over the years, in their home. Matt and his family live outside Philadelphia, and Amy and her family live in St. Louis. This photo's from about 10 years ago. Extended family get-together to celebrate Ron and Prue's 50th anniversary. And the family is pictured just prior to engaging in a rousing game of paintball war, as most families do when celebrating their parents' 50th anniversary. Ron served as president of Wooster Rotary in 1987. That happened to be the year the U.S. Supreme Court required Rotary Club and other service clubs to admit women. And Ron enthusiastically led this club in recruiting and admitting several women members who to this day continue to have a very positive impact on our club. I've heard Ron tell the story of one member who got so upset over the admission of women that he quit the club only to return the following week because his wife made him come back. Ron's year as president was the first year Rotary conducted a Polio Plus campaign, and the district gave Wooster the lofty goal of raising $18,000. Now, the club didn't just meet this goal, it didn't just double or triple the goal. It raised 6 times 18,000 or $108,000. Now, in typical modest Ron fashion, he credits others, especially George Cooper, the chair of the club's Polio Plus campaign, for the success, which has really been a springboard to our club's strong support of Rotary Polio Plus ever since. And among Ron's fondest memories of his presidential year were his improved trip to the International Convention in Munich in 1987. And Wooster sent quite a contingent to that convention, about 10 couples, as Ron recalls, including names we're still familiar with in the community, such as Gene and Joan Bueller, Pete and Bunny Bogner, Art and Barb Davis, George and Pauline Cooper. In addition to the convention, the Wooster contingency took a lengthy side trip, which included stops in Amsterdam, Switzerland, and several locations in Germany. And one of Ron's memories of that trip is his recollection that as the group toured the German villages, Pete Bogner would point out the ones he had bombed during World War II. One of Ron's favorite parts of this club is the strengthening of many friendships over the years. For example, Ron, his Rotary comrades, Tony Biggio and the late David Briggs, dubbed themselves the Three Amigos, and made many trips to the boundary waters in northern Minnesota together over the decades. And for quite a few years, the Three Amigos would take their kids with them on the boundary waters excursions. And the picture on the left there is Ron's vantage point with his son Matt in the front of their canoe from many years ago. Ron met fellow Rotarian Tony Biggio, pictured here with his dog Chief, even before moving to Worcester, as they attended Denison together. But they did reconnect after Ron and Prue moved to Worcester. For the past 30 years, the families have been across the road neighbors on Lattisburg Road. Their friendship is based on shared interests and values, family bonds, and sense of humor. The latter part was exemplified when, during Ron's year as Rotary president, he told the club he was changing Tony's Rotary classification from dentist to bird harvester in recognition of Tony's love of duck hunting. Ron told the club that Tony's marketing slogan was, "They're gonna die anyway." In the community, Ron's held leadership positions with a long list of nonprofits and service organizations. In fact, it'd be easier to list the organizations he's not led than to name the ones he has. But suffice it to say for today, his presence on the Worcester Chamber of Commerce's Wall of Fame is well deserved. And as you would expect, Ron remains active in his retirement years, currently a trustee for the Ohio Light Opera and the Lyric Theater Board, and a trustee emeritus for the Wayne County Community Foundation and the Killbuck Watershed Land Trust. He's also published books of fiction and poetry and has mentored other writers. He enjoys travel, outdoor work, spending time with his family. And Ron maintains an abiding interest in local and national politics. He's told me he'd be happy to take on Elon Musk on the proper use of a chainsaw. Ron, it's our good fortune to have you as a member of this club and for you and Prue to be citizens of our community.
Today I'm making a gift to the club in honor of my new great-grandson, George.
Well, you know, the banker, one of the bankers in the club, will always happy to hear that. And again, thank you, Ron, for 50 years of distinguished service. In honor of that, we will be adding you to the 50-year board here. Yep. And yeah, I never fully appreciate just how old you really are. One more quick thing. Greg Long brought this to me, said that Becky Foster, yeah, found this when she was helping clean out a former longtime Rotarian, obviously, their house, and came across this. This looks like it is an old version of the four-way test. Greg's never seen it. I've never seen it. But it's interesting though. So if anyone wants to take a look at this, come up and see it. And even more interesting is the back of this. And Robert's Hose Company, it's an old board that they used to mount this. Robert's Hose Company is holding an old-fashioned box social. And in honor of Ron Holtman being the first to admit women to the club, they mentioned that ladies bring box lunches for two, not the men, just the ladies. So, yeah, times have changed. Thank you, Ron, for that.
Handling very well, and she's had me sort things out and share them. She has very many mementos that bring people. So anyway.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that in, Becky. And Greg. Okay, again, member Rotary highlights on your tables. Fill these out, turn them into me. If you want to fill them out here, send me an email. I'm going to highlight you as a member here before the end of my term. Okay, let's see. At this point, we'll turn it over to then move on. Yep.
Thank you, President Tom. And just in addition, this is 2 of 4 members that are going to have their 50th anniversary in Rotary this year. I mean, that membership chair in 1974 gets kudos, that's for sure. So thank you to them. Also, I don't sing, but I will suggest it's Sarah's birthday, one of our cooks. So as you exit today, stop by the kitchen and give Sarah a happy birthday, please. I will start with introduction of guests. Becca Hilty. Becca Hilty is the Executive Director of the Pregnancy Care Center, and you also have a guest that you brought with you. So if you could introduce.
Yeah, I'm Becca Hilty, and I have Lauren Kiner with us. We just hired her last week as our community outreach coordinator, and she's looking to seek membership for Rotary.
Great, thank you. Council President Don Noble.
My guest today is Winston Whitehawk, Controller for United Titanium.
Josie Weaver Krantz.
My guest is Maddie Vergoon from Quality Casting.
Isaac, Isak, and Hannah may have some announcements today.
Hello, my name is Secretary Outreach Minister from Ecuador, and my house is crazy. So I went to Florida last week. It's really warm. Really warm, like actually really warm. I don't like it warm. So when I got here, I got really sick from the cold. And now I just want like so. But you know, like I went to the Daytona Speedway. For those who like those it was really cool. And basically that, I was with my uncle and my cousin from Ecuador. Long time not to see them. It was really cool. I had a lot of fun. And yeah, I think it's that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't do anything fun, but
Yesterday, I went to Cleveland Playhouse Square to watch Peter Pan. Yeah, I felt like a 7-year-old girl in Disney World, the flying and the sparkling twinkly things. Yeah, it was fun. I liked it. That's it. Oh, yeah. And I also want to say thank you for sponsoring our trip to New York City. We are forever grateful.
Very, so it's April 27th, so I was going to say that, but thank you.
Let's see, Joy Schmitz has an announcement, and then we'll turn it over to Tom.
Hello. Every year, when Phil and I are preparing for the wine event, we carefully select wines and then we order extras because we hope that you'll come and you'll taste something that you like, and then you'll want to take a bottle home and share it with more family, friends, and community. So we're going to be selling those extra bottles of beautifully curated wines 2 weeks from today, April 28th, and right here at Rotary. We'll be able to take credit card information through the computer, or you can bring cash or check. And you can enjoy any of those bottles at home. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. Okay, at this time, I will turn it over to Brian Riley to start off our program on the Viola Startzman Free Clinic.
Everybody. Dr. Mark Yoder is a highly skilled and dedicated healthcare professional with a comprehensive background in primary and mental health. He earned his Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, Master of Science in Nursing, and has board certifications in both family nurse practitioner and psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. Mark has his Doctor of Nursing practice from Walsh University. With over 9 years of experience in the field, Mark contributes to the next generation of nurse practitioners as a clinical adjunct professor at Walsh University, where he teaches in the family nurse practitioner program and serves as a preceptor for nursing students. Mark is committed to our community and is passionate about improving access to healthcare for all our neighbors. A native of Worcester, he currently resides here with his wife and 2 children. Please welcome the Executive Director of the Viola Startzman Clinic, Dr. Mark Yoder.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'll try to not take too much of your guys' time here, since I know you all are busy and ready to get back to your day. So as Brian said, my name is Mark Yoder. I am the Executive Director at Viola Startzman Clinic. I've been in that role for just over a year now, but I've been in the community practicing primary care for about the last 9 years. And then recently, this past December, got the dual certification for psychiatric and mental health care as well. So a little bit about Viola Startzman Clinic is we were founded in 1995 as a free clinic to address the gaps in healthcare for low income and uninsured individuals. And interesting, 30 years of service. So our 30-year anniversary is coming up in August, that we've been providing these services for the community. And our biggest mission is to provide access to quality medical, dental, psychiatric care, and outreach services to all patients of the community, regardless of their income or insurance status. Initially, we were established after community leaders identified widespread lack of basic health care, and ER was overcrowded at that time. And we began as a volunteer-driven clinic, which was open twice a week for walk-ins. Since then, we have definitely expanded our services and have expanded our staffing to ensure continuous and coordinated care. We became a rural health clinic in 2017, which allowed us to accept all insurances and allowed us to bring on some case managers as well to help with insurance enrollment, just making sure that everybody was able to get seen appropriately. We're currently staffed by 25 paid employees and many more volunteers. And going over our impact over the years, we've treated over 80,000 patients. And more recently, we've expanded into the mental health realm, so including psychiatric care and outreach services across Wayne and Holmes counties. One of the biggest things that we like to have an impact on is community need. So 23% of Wayne County and 36% of Holmes County residents are uninsured, and many more have high deductibles that make accessing healthcare services out of reach. Wayne County is designated as a low-income population health professional shortage area, or a HPSA, and 30% of the population having an income at or below 200% of the poverty level. So many times patients can't find a healthcare provider who accepts their insurance plan either, or they're out of network with that plan. So one of our policies is that if we are out of network with the insurance provider, we will match in-network pricing so that we can get patients in and seen appropriately. We do offer charitable care services for those in Wayne and Holmes County. So basically it starts with an income under 250% of the federal poverty level. And it is applicable for those who are in Wayne and Holmes. And essentially, it'll take over, you meet with our case manager and they go over your income and your status, and you can either get the visit covered for entirely free or at a discounted rate, 80% off, 60% off, 40% off, if you're uninsured at that time. One of our biggest things is access to care and access to quality care services. A lot of times we find that there's a wait time for primary care, and mental health is even longer of a wait time. I don't know if many of you guys have looked into that, but there are some times where we have patients who are going external out of the county because our primary care wait times are over 3 months to get in, or the county's mental health wait times are 6 months to 12 months to get in. So one of my goals as the executive director and noticing this huge need in the community was making sure that our wait times were a lot lower than that. So we really shoot for getting patients in within a week, and if not 2 weeks as our longest wait time. Typically, office visits can range anywhere between $150 to $300 per visit, and that's for your standard. We also do dental care services that when you add in the procedures and stuff like that, it can be more costly. And that's where our charitable care program comes into effect and can usually cover either 20% or up to 100% cost of the visits. Typical charitable care that we perform per year ranges anywhere between $500,000 and $750,000 a year, which is directly to community members of Wayne and Holmes counties. So that is something that we take pride in doing, is providing these services for the community. I've included a list of our primary care providers that we have here. We have Dr. Kristen Wanger as our medical director. We have Jessica Franklin, myself, Zeb Beam, and Ashley Tanhoff, who are all nurse practitioners providing primary care services at our clinic. So a little bit how we impact primary care services. So a lot of times there are gaps even when we're talking about primary care. So we found that case management, especially those who are frequently hospitalized or utilizing the ER, is extremely beneficial, and looking at community-based care coordination as well. One of the other things we offer on site is telehealth, both for primary care and mental health services. And really that just falls in line with our access to care. There are some patients who, they don't have a phone, or they don't have access to a way to telehealth, and we do have a telehealth room at our facility too, for those if the provider is off site that day. Different primary care services, so your standard that you would see your primary care provider for, so diabetes, blood pressure, obesity, asthma, tobacco abuse, acute illnesses, chronic disease management. We're dedicated to delivering top quality primary care services to both children and adults in Wayne and surrounding counties, with a mission to ensure that everyone's able to get the care that they need. And that's one of the things that I push, is that, you know, it's regardless of your income status, you're going to get the same quality care as if you're a person with insurance. And that's something that I take pride in, is that I've essentially vetted and brought on every provider at the clinic now. And these are, you know, quality providers who are up to date with standard care and follow evidence-based medicine for both primary care and mental health services, which is extremely important, because that's one of my goals, is making sure that everybody has access to this kind of care. Mental health providers, we have Leslie Freiberger, Mark Dalcroft, who just recently joined us. Myself, I'm dual certified, and then Jessica Franklin is also dual certified as well. And we have another psych provider, Kristen Conrad, as well. So a little bit about mental health services, and I won't bore you with all this statistics and whatnot here, but really, if you talk with anybody in Wayne County, anybody really in any of the counties in Ohio, mental health is always listed as one of the top concerns. And, you know, in the past, mental health was always stigmatized. It was something you just didn't talk about. And we found out from that, you know, poor outcomes happen when you don't talk about mental health. And, you know, especially when it comes to the youth, when it comes to all ages of the spectrum, it's important to make sure that this isn't something that's stigmatized, and that we are encouraging people to get help and get treatment, just because it's something that's out there and it's something that needs addressed. And some of the biggest things that impact reasons why people don't get mental health services is accessibility, or the time that it takes for individuals to receive treatment, availability of providers in the area, affordability of the cost for the health insurance, and then acceptability of the stigmas. And that's really where our clinic really it reaches out to all four of those points and makes care more accessible to the community. Part of the ways that we can impact access to mental health services, we integrate primary care with our mental health. One of the things I realized as a new grad primary care provider about 9 years ago, I graduated Walsh University, and they're like, well, don't worry, if you ever get a mental health concern, you can refer that out to a psych provider in town and you won't ever have to address it. Well, here I was, a new grad, diagnosing and addressing bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and anxiety, depression, all that. And I felt like that wasn't doing a service to these patients, and I needed to go get educated a little bit better so that I could understand it. And it's out there, and that's where one of the things that we do at our clinic is integrate the two realms. So there's primary care and there's mental health, and by having dual certified providers and who are specialized in both, that really integrates the two models so that you're always having a continuity of care between the two. Another thing recently that we started involving ourselves in is the use of community health workers. And studies have shown that this is better for continuity of care. Their goal is going out, meeting with these patients who are having struggles, getting different pathways to care that they need, and directing them to different areas in the community that can help out. That could be healthcare, that could be housing, that could be food assistance, insurance enrollment. You know, they're really kind of they do it all. And that's one of the things that we're piloting this year to see how we can help that in our community. Different mental health services provided. So diagnosis and treatment of mental health conditions and comprehensive mental health evaluations. We do also have one of our nurse practitioners who specifically is trained in handling and diagnosing youth, and she'll see and treat children as young as 3 years old. So there's your mood disorders, depression, anxiety, PTSD, ADHD, eating disorders, kind of the whole realm of different conditions that we treat. Here's a short video on one of our providers, Leslie.
My name is Leslie Freibarger, and I am a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. I treat all spectrums of mental health concerns, including diagnosis and treatment with medications and natural remedies. I see patients from age 3 and up. Here at Viola Startzman Clinic, we accept all insurances, and even if you don't have insurance, we will still work with you to get the care that you need. I understand that insurance companies can be difficult, and it can be even harder to find a provider who will treat young children and teenagers. But here at Viola Startzman, we want to go the extra mile to make sure that everybody in our community is taken care of.
And then a lot of people forget, we also have dental as well. So we have two buildings. We have the dental building, which was the originally building that housed our medical services as well. But as the need in the community grew and we had to expand our medical services to include mental health services, we then opened that second building on the other side of Cleveland Road next to Wooster ENT. So we do have two buildings. A little bit about our dental services is we are one of the only dentists in Worcester who accepts Medicaid. So it makes it incredibly difficult to find a provider who's a network for that, but that is something that we do. And our dental team consists of dentists, dental hygienists, and dental assistants who are dedicated to delivering top quality dental services. And that includes diagnosis, evaluation, dental hygiene cleanings, root canals, x-rays, extractions, and different sort of preventative medicine as well. We do have Dr. Robert Burns, who is our dentist, and then Amber Tucker, who is our dental hygienist. I will say, because of us being the only dental clinic that takes Medicaid, they are booked out quite a ways. And that is something that we've been trying to work on doing, is finding more dentists to help meet that growing need in the community as well. So if you know any dentists looking to move out this way, send them our way, because we've been looking for quite a while here. I always like to bring up the importance of our community partners. So one thing that a lot of people don't know is that at our clinic, we are known as a drug pharmacy repository. So we're able to take donated medications, and we have a volunteer pharmacist, actually Heidi, who owns Heidi's Pharmacy. She comes in once a week and goes through our different medications that we have donated, make sure they are what they are, and then we're able to give those out to patients for free. So we've been able to treat patients with the nice insulin in the pens that are usually $1,000 a box, and we've been able to treat them for the entire year with their insulins for ensuring compliance. And I always bring up, a prime example is medications just have become so expensive, and there's these gap of patients where, they're essentially the working poor, where they make too much money to get on insurance, but they also can't afford to buy $1,500 a month on medications. So that's a big thing that a lot of people don't know about us, is that we can help out with our pharmacy that we have on site too. We work closely with other community partners such as 180, Anna Zao for counseling. We do perform outreach now at Trinity Church of Christ, the Salvation Army, and also Homeward Bound, where we're able to directly send some of our providers on site to provide care. We work closely with Worcester Community Hospital and Cleveland Clinic as well. And we also have worked closely with the Wayne County Jail. We provide a psychiatric nurse practitioner on site for them, and have worked with the city of Worcester on combating the mental health crisis that's growing. So if you do need someone that's a Wayne County resident and in need of mental health services, we do have a grant that covers the visit for them, depending on their income, which is pretty flexible on that, how that goes. We've worked with the Wayne County Community Foundation, United Way, the Mental Health and Recovery Board, and the Noble Foundation as well. And really, it just shows, there's a lot of resources in our community that people don't know about. And that's where, making sure that patients are getting, educated on what resources are available to them and making those connections is one of the things that we do as well. How do we meet these needs? So really our operating expenses is made up of, of grants, donations, fundraising, and our patient care revenue. But as you can see, our patient care revenue really is about less than 10% of our budget. And the other, what makes up the other percentage is the grants and then the donations and fundraising as well. Some of our outcomes, in 2024, we saw over 3,000 primary care visits and over almost 1,300 mental health visits and 3,400 dental care visits. Some of our goals for 2025 is getting new patients in within 2 weeks and increasing our number of patients served in both Wayne and Holmes County. So this is something that we plan to foster and grow new community partnerships in both Wayne and Holmes County for 2025. And this is a patient testimonial.
My name is Brian Fortune. I'm an arborist for the city of Worcester, and I've been seeing Mark here for about a year. And the payments have been really easy to deal with, and the quality of care has been excellent. I mean, they really get to know you and understand your needs and help with your mental health and physical and all sorts of stuff. So it's just a great asset to have in our community, and I'm really fortunate to have this care so close to home. For someone like me, I don't like going to the doctor very often. It's sometimes uncomfortable, but here everybody makes you feel welcome and they make sure they help you out with whatever you need.
Okay, and that wraps it up. So any questions from you guys? Yes?
Thank you for coming. What is your annual budget? When you talk about most of your money comes from donations and grants, what is a typical budget year?
So to operate our budget, when it includes, the patient revenue and the expense of keeping up the building, stuff like that, it ranges from year to year, but it's between $2 and $3 million a year.
Thanks for coming. I just had a quick question about disposing of medicine.
Mhm.
That there's a box at the Justice Center down
Mhm.
here. Does that, was anything that gets deposited in there and up at your place? I mean, do you have a collaborative agreement or do they just dispose of it properly?
We don't have an agreement with that. They probably dispose of it there. And we also do offer some disposals on site because we don't take controlled substances. And unfortunately, sometimes they do get dropped off and then it takes myself and the pharmacist who have to verify that we're destroying it. And we do have some disposal on site for that when that accidentally, happens. But no, that's not something, usually when they drop it off at a site like that, it goes and it all gets poured in and then it gets cemented in, and that's how they dispose of some of these medications.
You're more interested in antibiotics.
Well, really the medications that are more costly to patients. So the blood thinners, the diabetic medications, because we don't want to inundate our volunteer pharmacists with $2 metformin or lisinopril, something like that, versus $1,500 Eliquis, where you're able to, manage a blood clot for a patient for a year or something like that. But yeah, the diabetic medications, some of the branded medications, those are definitely the more expensive ones that are out of reach for a lot of our patients, even the insured patients as well.
Could you expand just a bit on your relationship with Worcester Hospital?
So we've been working really closely with Worcester Hospital, actually. One of our goals for 2025 is we share a lot of mutual patients, and our goals is to keep these patients out of the ER. That's one of the biggest goals for primary care and mental health is to reduce overutilization of the emergency department. And one of the ways that we've worked with Worcester Hospital is they've provided us a phlebotomist on site. So for our blood work, we do have a phlebotomist from the hospital who is there Monday through Friday, which has been incredibly helpful for our patients because then we don't have to draw it. And when we have a really tricky blood draw, then I don't have to be brought in to draw those labs too. So they've really helped us out with is utilizing their electronic medical health record system. Because a lot of times when a patient's discharged from the hospital, or we're sending a patient to the emergency department or to one of the specialists there, the EMR that we have right now does not interface directly. So having, you know, that bridge between, by sharing systems would be incredibly beneficial to the community, because then we could, you know, see the whole history without having to do a whole records release and then, you know, chase down a week's worth of waiting until they get the information that's needed. But yeah, they've been definitely incredibly helpful with a lot of our expansion on our services that we're doing.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming. I was just wondering about, you mentioned some of the types of medications that you will take. Do you also, will you take mental health medication?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mental health medication, especially, I mean, we've worked with some patients where compliance is an issue, and some of these, you know, mental health meds like the long-acting injectables and stuff like that, they're $1,000. And that's where if you're starting someone on it, why we're getting them enrolled in insurance to get it covered, they've been incredibly beneficial for that. We also do some MAT therapy. And for example, you know, 180 has worked with us and donated us Vivitrol for alcohol use addiction. And it's been a really good resource having that pharmacy capability, because that's one of our biggest gaps in care. If you can get patients the medication while they're there and in there with you, you're much more likely to have them remain compliant. Yeah.
You accept contributions of vitamins?
Yeah, we take over the counter. We take over the counter donations as well. And then we also take a lot of durable medical equipment. So I've been able to give patients a brand new sleep apnea machine, you know, that otherwise would cost them $3-4 grand, or a walker or a wheelchair. You know, so that's one of the big needs in the community. We have a whole room that's designated towards DME, or an oxygen concentrator. Have you guys looked up the cost of that? It's about $3,500. So you know, some of those stuff goes pretty quick when we do get them, but we do take those and get them out there in our community.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
An appreciation for you speaking to us today. Give this rendition of the rotary wheel. On the back is the 4-way test.
Great.
Made by the students of the Village Network.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, next week, we will be hearing from Sheriff Tom Ballinger in the Wayne County Sheriff Update hosted by Greg Long. And with that, we stand adjourned.